Well, hello everybody. You're watching Cooking Like a Man, Episode 7, Olive Garden Copycat Pasta Fagioli. I'll get back with you here in just a second and show you the ingredients. So I thought I should try to learn how to make that. And because the closest Olive Garden to us is about 60 miles away. So I thought it'd be nice for her if I could learn how to do that. And this is what I've come up with, and we'll see how good it turns out. 1 pound of lean ground beef, 1/4 pound of ground pork. You'll need about a cup of ditalini dry pasta, 1 sweet onion, about a tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 can of kidney beans, drained and rinsed, and 1 can of white northern beans, drained and rinsed. A couple of cans of fire roasted diced tomatoes. You'll need about 2/3 of a cup of celery diced and about 2/3 of a cup of carrots diced. A tablespoon or 2 of olive oil. A couple of containers of chicken broth. Some quality Italian seasoning. Some Parmesan cheese and ground cloves. I'll get back with you here in just a second and we'll start putting this together. Hello, I'm back. While you were gone, I prepped and rinsed my vegetables. And I thought I'd turn the video back on and let you observe me chopping some of these vegetables up for the soup. Just so you can see how handy it is to have a good sharp knife in the kitchen. Like I've said many times in my previous videos, it's important if you want to cook on a regular basis to have a good quality sharp knife. I keep several. In fact, I just pulled this one out. It's one I haven't used in a while because I know it's good and sharp. It's about time for me to get the knife sharpener out and do a video on how to sharpen a kitchen knife. But anyway, I thought I'd chop up a few of these vegetables and give you a little idea on how I do that. Good knife, kitchen knife. If you're looking for one, you only want to buy one. You want to find one that has a good belly in the blade and a thin spine. There you can see about, whoops, not high enough. There you can see about how thick it is. It's a nice thin slice. I want to cook my carrots. Carrots generally take a while to cook, so I want to cut them pretty thin. So that's how I do the carrots. Now you can watch me slay this piece of celery, and then I'll let you go and finish the job, so you don't have to stand there and watch me cut vegetables up. But same deal. Just use the belly of the knife, and you can kind of rock the knife over and also feed the vegetable into the knife. Just do that rocking motion, and you'll make history of these vegetables pretty darn quick. Don't need a food processor to do that. See how thin the celery is, and it'll cook much faster when it's thin. I'd say it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. And this knife would cut much thinner if I wanted to. But while you're gone, I'll finish chopping this up and get back with you, and we'll start combining some ingredients to get this going so we can eat. Well, hello everybody. I'm back, and it's time to combine the meat with the seasonings. So I'm going to put a pound of lean ground beef and 1/4 pound of ground pork in my mixing bowl here. And I found a really good Italian seasoning. You just want to get a quality Italian seasoning. What I like about this one, it has a grinder attachment on it. So I'm just going to grind a good bit of that Italian seasoning into that ground meat. An alternative to using ground beef and ground pork in your pasta fagioli would be Italian sausage, which I would love, but my wife is averse to Italian sausage, so we're not making that way. But the Olive Garden version of pasta fagioli does have ground beef in it, so it's not Italian sausage. But I want to put a good bit of this Italian seasoning in there. And what I like about this, the fact that it grinds it up, is it incorporates it really nice into the meat. And also, when you have the ground version of the Italian spice, it doesn't affect the mouthfeel. So, in other words, you won't have any chunks of thyme or something like that in your soup that really stick out. This grinds it up, makes it, as far as mouthfeel is concerned, makes it unnoticeable, and also increases the surface area of the spice, so it actually makes it more spicy. I don't think that in my intro for ingredients I included salt and black pepper, but you can pretty much assume if I'm cooking meat, I'm putting some kosher salt, a pretty big pinch, and black pepper in there. I just can't imagine cooking beef and pork combination without some black pepper and salt in there. I just season it to taste. And coriander. I mean, not coriander, cloves. I'm gonna try a 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove. No more than that, because it's a pretty strong spice. Cloves are. I think a 1/4 teaspoon would be plenty. So when you go to mix this up, there's no better way than using your hands. But take my wedding ring off there. I don't want to get any ground meat up in my wedding ring. But I'll just squeeze the meat together and kind of turn it and squeeze at the same time. And just kind of extrude it through my hand. And I want the pork, the beef, and the spices to be well incorporated. And then when I get done doing this, I'll go wash my hands real good, put my wedding ring back on, and I'll see you, and we'll put this in the pan and start browning it up. See you in just a minute. Well, hello everybody, I'm back, and it's time to start the browning process of this ground beef and ground pork combination that I seasoned up. So I got it in my favorite aluminum pot that I bought down there in Old Mexico when I lived down there. We'll let this get browned up a little bit, get it going. But before the meat's done browning, I'll add the vegetables and let them start steaming down. And it also helps to flavor the meat. While I was gone, while you were gone, and before I started browning the meat, I sprayed my pan real good with some canola cooking spray and put a good heavy 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in there to brown this meat in. And that's all I've done since you were gone. When you come back, we'll add the vegetables and get this really rolling. Oh, I'm back. Well, this ground meat, I would say, is in the vicinity of 50% brown. Still got some pink, I got some brown in there, about 50-50. That'd be a good time to add some vegetables in there. Let them kind of start sweating down and get tender, because it takes a while for carrots and celery and onions and everything to get tender. And plus, as it's steaming and sweating down with the ground meat, it helps to flavor the meat as well. So it's like a spice. So I'm going to go ahead and add, this is the onion, celery, and carrots. And I won't really stir it up yet. I'll just kind of spread the vegetables out on top of the meat first. And just let it steam for a little while. But because I don't want my hamburger to overcook on the bottom, then I'll stir it. But I'll just give it a couple of minutes here to just kind of sit on top and steam. And then I'll start giving it a good stir. After the hamburger gets completely done, everything's starting to look about right, I'll add my garlic. I'll stir that in real good and let it sit there and sweat for a little while and start to kind of become aromatic. Once the garlic becomes aromatic, I'll start adding the liquid ingredients, the chicken broth, and then I'll put the beans in there, and I'll stir that for a while. let it cook for simmer for just a little while. And when I feel like the vegetables are kind of maybe a little less than al dente, maybe 50% cooked, I'll add the dried pasta and I'll cover it and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. And in about 15 minutes, the pasta should be al dente and the vegetables and everything else should be completely done. And we'll have soup. I'll see you in a minute. Here I'm at the stage where I'm still browning my hamburger. You can see still some pink in the hamburger there. Then I've mixed in my vegetables, my celery, onion, and carrot. And I'm just letting it sit there and do its thing. I'm on a fairly high heat, not all the way up, but it's high enough to brown meat and kind of start rendering the fat out of the pork and get the vegetables steaming. So it's working. I'll get back with you here in just a minute. Hello, I'm back. Well, the onion is the first vegetable to start showing signs of being done. So it's starting to turn a little translucent. And then the celery is the next thing. And it's starting to show signs of becoming tender. Of course, the carrots are the last thing. They take longer to cook. But I thought now would be a good time to add my garlic. And I'll admit, I use store-bought minced garlic. Unless my recipe is a recipe that's predominantly garlic, unless it's a garlic dish, I don't bother with buying whole garlic and peeling it and chopping it up and all that. I know it's a little better, but in a soup with such a variety of flavor, and and the garlic is not the primary ingredient, and it's not the predominant flavor. The other store-bought minced garlic is just pretty handy. So anyway, I'm going to take a nice spoonful. I'd say that's probably about a tablespoon. The garlic and throw in there. That's all I'm going to put in there. I don't want it to be real garlicky. I'm going to stir that garlic in. And just give it a minute or two to kind of cook. I don't know how. This is the first time I've made this dish, by the way. So normally I would cook the garlic until it became aromatic. But I have other spices in here. And with the ground clove, I really don't know how I'll be able to smell, because I could smell the clove and it smells delicious. I mean, I'm sure I didn't get too much clove in there, but it's the predominant smell coming up in the steam. So I don't know that I'll be able to smell the garlic and use that as a gauge. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. I don't. It doesn't take garlic very long. I'll stir it for a couple of minutes, let this cook, then I'll get back with you. Okay, I'm back. I gave that garlic a couple of minutes to cook and kind of sweat up into the meat there and help flavor the meat. So now it's time to start adding all of our other ingredients. Just whacked my lid there, made a big dong sound. I had in my refrigerator, I had a partial chicken broth container that had just a little bit in it. So I'm going to add that in there just so I could use that. Waste not, want not. Then I'll add 2 more full containers of chicken broth. You kind of give it a little squeeze and speed the emptying process up a little bit. Keep on whacking everything, making gong sounds. If you pour with the spout at the top, it pours faster because it could get air. Okay, there's all the chicken broth. Give it a little stir. Now I'm going to add the fire roasted tomatoes, 2 cans. always save my cans and recycle them. My wife kind of teases me because they're not worth much. But it keeps me out of the landfill, makes me feel good about myself. Got some drained kidney beans. These are dark red. It really don't matter if it's dark red or the lighter kidney beans. The dark red, I believe, I thought would add a better aesthetic to the soup. Plus, they have a little stronger flavor. And there's some great white northern beans. Drained also. So that's that. I'm going to stir this up and let it kind of start coming to a light boil. Then I'll add the pasta and get back with you. I thought maybe you might want to see what it looked like at this stage. Still have yet to add the pasta. I just added the other ingredients from the previous segment. I'm stirring it all in. And I'll turn this heat up a little bit, speed the process up and get it going to a light boil. Then we'll add the pasta and turn it down to a little less than medium heat. Let it simmer for about 15-20 minutes till the pasta is al dente and it's ready to eat after that. See you in a minute. Hello, I'm back. I'm still waiting on my pasta fagioli to come to a boil. It's real close. But in the meantime, while he's gone, I taste tested it. And I could tell that it needs more salt and pepper. So I thought I'd just bring you back and let you know that. So I'm going to add 2 more pinches, 2 more nice pinches, pretty good pinches of salt. And I'm going to grab this black pepper. And I'm going to pour the black pepper to it pretty good too. It was, the flavor when I taste tested it was predominantly clove. It wasn't bad predominantly clove, but it tasted like it could use a little more of something else. And that something else in my mind is salt and black pepper. 1 more pinch of salt. There we go. It was, it felt deprived of salt, a little bland. So I'm gonna stir that in and continue to wait for this stock to boil. As soon as the stock boils, I'll throw my pasta in there. I'll bring you back for that. Then we'll turn the heat down to about medium, cover it, and let it simmer for 15 minutes, and then we'll check it. I also taste tested one of the carrots, and they're still very al dente, and that is good because we don't want to overcook the carrots. We know the last things to get done, but we don't want to overcook them. So by the time the pasta gets to the al dente point in the soup, the carrot should be just right, I'm hoping. That's the thought. But it's getting close. It's almost ready to boil. I'll get back with you in a minute. Okay, the fagioli is coming to a light boil now. So I'm going to go ahead and add that cup of dried pasta. And I taste tested it again while he's gone. And I think I could use another another small pinch of salt, and a little bit more black pepper. Let's just add some in there. I wouldn't say it's bland, but it doesn't taste well rounded. I'm gonna just say that. So let's give it a good stir here. And then I'll cover the pot and turn the heat down to medium. I'll get back with you in about 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes. See you later. Take a look at this pasta fagioli. It's done. Turn the heat down to low so it'll stay hot, and we'll wait for our bread to come out of the oven. We're gonna have some good soup tonight. I hope my wife likes it as good as she does Olive Garden. If not, I'll keep working at it. I'll make it just as good. We'll see you in just a minute. Hello everybody. While we're waiting on that pasta fagioli to finish up, I'm going to show you an amazing trick. How to make breadsticks out of 2 ingredients. Or 3 if you don't have self-rising flour. You'll need 1.5 cups of self-rising flour, or if you don't have any self-rising flour like I do not, you'll need to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 cup of Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt. That's it, folks. I'm gonna make a bread dough out of this, and it'll be so good, you'll be amazed. I'm gonna put this in my stand mixer and mix it up. You can mix it up by hand easy enough, but I'll get back with you in just a second and show you. The mixing bowl set up in my stand mixer here, and I'm not even using my kneading dough. I'm just using a regular mixing paddle. And we'll turn it on, and it'll just take just a minute for that to start forming a dough ball. Pretty amazing. Like I said, if you don't have a stand mixer, you could mix this dough up by hand just about as easy. In fact, sometimes when I don't feel like dirtying up my stand mixer, I just mix it up by hand. But there it is. See, it's already forming a ball. I'll let it knead for just a few more turns. We want to create the gluten links that make bread what bread is. So look, it's really balling up good now. So I'll let you go and I'll get this out of the mixer and we'll put it out on the surface and roll it out. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, that was just about as easy as falling off a log. Now watch this. We're going to put a little flour on our preparation surface here. I got my silicone mat out. I dust our rolling pin a little bit so nothing sticks. I'm just going to dump this dough out on our surface. It's a really clean dough. It's just beautiful. I'm going to roll it into a ball. Just like that. Make a nice ball out of it. Then we're just going to let it sit there and rest until our oven heats up to 375 degrees. I'll get right back to you. Okay, I'm back. We're ready to roll this dough out. I just pat it down. You kind of you don't want a round dough. You want to try to make a rectangular dough as much as you can. But unless you're in some kind of cooking contest, I guess it doesn't matter what shape your breadsticks are. Get a little bit more flour. Start to stick on my pan a little bit. This is a really simple dough. You'd be surprised. I use this for pizza dough and breadsticks and garlic knots. It's good for all those things. We want to roll it out to about 1/4 inch thick. I want to kind of clean my edges up a little bit so that my breadsticks don't look too funky. We'll clean the edges up. Give it a couple more rolls. Try to make it as uniform as possible so we don't have so many jagged edges. Let's give it a roll here. Okay, that'll do. It don't have to be perfect. I don't want to cut this on my silicone mat, but it's about 1/4 inch thick. This bread doesn't rise much because it's not a yeast dough. But it does rise a little bit because of the baking powder that's in it. So I'm going to just lay that out on my countertop. My silicone mat over there. Just take my knife and slice it into about 1 to 1.5 inch thick strips. Just that simple. These babies cut up. That's such an amazing dough. There's no need in buying frozen breadsticks ever again. Okay, this is my. While you were gone, I melted some butter in the microwave and put some Italian seasoning and a little bit of garlic salt in there. I'm gonna put this on a baking pan with some parchment paper. I always bake with parchment paper, even when I'm making biscuits or anything, because it keeps the bottom from of the biscuits or whatever, bread, whatever you're cooking, cake, from getting overdone. And it doesn't stick. I really like parchment paper. I've never been much of a baker until recently, and I'm kind of still learning about baking. But I've always been fascinated about the process of baking. I've always been fascinated with the process of baking yeast breads. But sometimes we just don't have time. So I'm going to brush this butter on these breadsticks. And then I'm going to stick it in the oven for probably 10 or 15 minutes at 375. We'll watch it. Just whenever they get nice and golden brown, we'll know they're done. And then we're going to have some pasta fagioli and breadsticks for dinner. I hope my wife's proud of me. If the pasta fagioli doesn't turn out just like we thought it should this time, well then next time we'll make some adjustments. But I could tell from the smell of it that it's going to be really good. I think my wife's going to like it. And I don't have to drive 60 miles to go to Olive Garden. Here, I'll give you a little look at what this looks like before I put it in the oven. I'm going to stick that in the oven and I'll get back with you in just a minute. Hello everybody, I'm back. I've plated up this pasta fagioli and added a little leafy Italian parsley as a condiment along with some shredded Parmesan cheese. And these are the breadsticks. Can you believe how easy those were to make? They rose nice and they are delicious. Can't wait to eat this dinner tonight. Hope you all have a good dinner tonight, and I'll see you on the next video.